Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Grand Seiko Hi-Beat GMT in titanium. This is the SBGJ011. You can see and you can purchase this Grand Seiko Hi-Beat GMT on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this tapestry dial Grand Seiko Hi-Beat GMT with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Grand Seiko Hi-Beat GMT. Before I get into the fit, I always say fit comes first. Let me try to at least capture this dial because I feel like I'm failing here. This is a dial that features a vertical striation, a little bit like Omega's teak deck concept. If you look around the 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock indices, you can see some of the striation of the dial. I'm looking at it through my viewfinder and I realize I'm not doing justice to the vertical bars, the etchings that run from top to bottom on this dial. I'm doing my best closing down the aperture, trying to get a little bit of a shadow, but it is very subtle. I would say the closest thing I can compare it to is a Rolex tapestry dial. So imagine that, you get the general idea, albeit with Grand Seiko's spirit and signatures such as a case, hands, indices, and caliber that are in a class by themselves. This is a watch that's beautiful to look at and comfortable to wear. 40 millimeters in diameter and crafted from titanium with matching titanium bracelet, it is feathery light. I've worn titanium watches before, but there's something almost unnerving about the lightness of this one, and I can't quite figure out why. 14.3 millimeters thick, it's not exceptionally thick, although it looks chunky in profile. That's more because it's compact from lug to lug. At 46.2 millimeters across the wrist, I believe that worn on a strap, you could probably wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters in circumference. Even on the bracelet, I think you might be able to achieve the same, because the solid end links of the bracelet only extend the watch to 49.8 millimeters across the wrist, keeping it safely under the 50 millimeter lug-to-lug dimension that I consider critical for wrists under 16 centimeters in circumference. Now, again, it is very light, very, very light. The bracelet is made in titanium to match the case and finished by hand to a degree we no longer see in Omega Breitling or Rolex bracelets. There's a hairline polished bevel along the flank. The flanks themselves are of a satin finish. You can see that intermediate links feature polished shoulders, and there's a satin finish up and down the bracelet. The end links are solid and they're nicely matched to the lugs, and because you might put this watch on a strap, the spacing is 19 millimeters, so you can go ahead and order your accessory straps even if you're still window shopping. Now you'll note that the bracelet is sized, in this case, with pins and sleeves to maintain lightness. It is a very supple bracelet over the skin, and you'll note that it features plenty of channels underneath to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, and also enables the watch to aerate the wrist on a hot day. The clasp is substantial but low in profile. You can see twin trigger release. It can't pop open. It needs to be positively disengaged. The detailing is excellent, as you'll note the contrasting finish to the Grand Seiko crest, as well as the polish to the release triggers on the flanks. The watch features a case that's best described as a gem only made of metal. If you look at the planes and facets of the end of the lugs, you realize the level of artistry that's in play here. Not just in terms of the art design, and what a thought to create lug ends that look like this, but to actually finish them with those tiny planes and crease lines, that is impressive. The Zaratsu case finishing by Grand Seiko is done by feel, executed by hand, holding the watch body itself against the milling device used to create the optically smooth finish. And when you look at something with planes as small as these lug ends and realize that was executed on a spot that's effectively the size of the sprinkle you might find on an ice cream cone, very impressive. More so that not only is that achieved, but they're symmetrical in size and angle from side to side. Very, very accomplished. The bezel is simple but strong. As you'll note, it's slightly conical from its mid section, which is thoroughly denoted by a crease line, to the sapphire, and then it's sort of concave. It's reverse conical from that midpoint down to its junction with the case. It also contrasts nicely with the planes of the case to break up the mass of metal. Not that there's much mass to this metal. Now the dial, once again, I'm just having trouble capturing it. Though I get close, This is probably the closest I've come to showing you the tapestry pattern, the top to bottom striation of the dial that I described earlier. Far easier to explain, because it's far easier to see, is the level of attention to detail lavished on these gorgeous hands and indices. Now, the watch is a GMT, so it has the 24-hour blue GMT hand, and then it has a local hour hand at center. The one hand, GMT, moves in a single cycle of the dial per day, and the local hand, which is adjustable independently of the GMT hand, keeps track of the 12-hour cycle in the time zone where you are currently. Now, the hands are faceted and high polished, and I mean immaculately high polished. You can see your face in them. There's a faceting and a polishing to the indices, which are applied by hand, which is as good as anything I've seen from the likes of Patek Philippe or FP Journe. And I've seen some of these manufacturers and the level of attention to detail that goes into finishing components like this, only that was on watches that cost anywhere from 5 times to 10 times or more what this costs. So this is a dial that is world class at any price. And again, I'm sorry I can't show you that tapestry design, but I can show you the depth of the dial, the change of plane created by those broad and tall and faceted and glimmering indices, plus the exquisite hands at center. You'll also note that there's a metal frame about the date. I'm going to screw out the crown, and I'm going to oh, there you go. I actually got a pretty good look at the striation of the dial right there. I just barely captured it. That's its best angle. Now, I pull the crown out. You see what I mean about adjusting the hour hand independently? And you can use it to drive the date forward or backwards as you cross the international date line. And as you change time zones, the watch doesn't stop ticking. The 10 beat per second, 36,000 vibration per hour 9S caliber continues to tick away. So you're keeping time even though you're changing time. Now, of course, if you pull the crown to extremity, the second detent, you do hack the balance, you do stop the second's hand, and now you can synchronize precisely to a reference time. So turning the watch over, you see what provides the motive power. It is a Grand Seiko in-house caliber 9S86, 36,000 vibrations per hour, and exceptionally adjusted to 6 positions. Let me see if I can do something about the focus here. There we go. That's far better. So get back into motion. 10 beats per second, 36,000 vibrations per hour. It is adjusted in 6 positions, and keep in mind that chronometer standard to get a COSC certificate is generally 5 positions, with watch brands often moving all of the errors and deviation into the untested position. So to test and regulate in all 6 is to have something that is laid bare with no flaws. Chronometrically superb, it beats away at 10 beats per second, but still retains a 55-hour power reserve, which is exceptional given that a standard 4 Hz 8 beat per second automatic, which uses much less power, in the industry is generally 38 to 42 hours. So Grand Seiko exceeding expectations in every respect. Just as the outside of the watch is finished by hand, the movement is assembled and regulated by a Grand Seiko watchmaker. The timepiece is also 100 meters water resistant, so this could be your only watch. This could quite easily be your only watch. If it has one flaw, its only flaw would be that it is not luminescent. So though you cannot see it at night, nevertheless, with that remarkable double-step cadence, you will be able to hear it at night. See it on our website.